Hi everybody! I'm going to do the process video on doing the jelly plate with the contact paper, and I think just for simplicity I'm just going to call it a jelly skin. But I promised you I would be back to share the process with you, so here I am. I've got the clean side of my jelly plate, and I'm just going to do a small one in the interest of time. So you'll need your jelly plate, some rubber stamps, paints, things to use for masks, your brayer, and I have two different colors of, well, that's the paint, I don't want paint. I have one color of the Pearlux powder, or you can use, oh gosh, I mean you can use almost anything for that part, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Got a toilet paper roll just for some little stencil or what have you. So it really is an easy and fun process. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to put down a couple of little masks. And you can put down as many as you want. It just depends on what you want to do. Most people would have like strips or whatever, but I'm going to do a little something different. And then you're going to put your paint out on your jelly plate and brayer it all the way across. And I'm not the best fussy cutter in the world, so it's going to be pretty obvious. I'm going to put a little bit more paint on here because I do want to be able to peel it. Pull that off, and while the paint is wet, I'm just going to draw in some little wavy doodles. And now we wait for the paint to dry. Now, I don't know why this is giving me bare spots, but that's going to be what it is. I think I'll just do a couple circles. And what I'm doing is creating open space on the jelly plate. And the open space is where you will be able to see your Pearlux powder or silver or foil leafing come through, even just aluminum foil, or if you choose to just put paper on the back of it. I mean, whatever you decide to do, but that's going to be after everything else is said and done. So, disregard the black in the background. This is what I have so far. You can see my masks are down, my little waves, my circles. And now we're going to wait for paint to dry. Whee! I brought one of my stiff plastic embossing plates to help speed this process up a little bit. Whee! See, I don't want this to be a forever video. But sometimes things do take time. And it's getting there. I still see some glossy spots on the paint, so, but we're almost there. Obviously, I can't can't fan this thing as well with my left hand as my right. My right arm's getting a little tired. Okay, that is mostly dry. Dry enough for me to go to the next step. I do have a little piece of silicone matting here, so that I can get paint onto my brayer. I've got some rubber stamps. And I'm just going to brayer the paint onto the stamp. And I'm going to stamp that paint onto the jelly plate. I hope I didn't just screw it up. I should have brought an acrylic block, but I didn't. So this may or may not turn out how I want it to, but you'll see the process anyway. Okay, and I'll stamp off the rest of that paint onto my scratch sheet, or my roll-off sheet. Okay, so I've got a mermaid there, I've got some fish here. I think I want to do those in a different blue. I think I'm just going to roll this out and stamp this, put this stamp right into the paint. I can see that I'm off camera here, so yeah, I'm just rolling that out onto my craft sheet. And I'm just going to put the stamp right down into that instead of brayering it on. And I'll stamp, shift back over, stamp my little fishies on there. Got a seashell that I want to use. I'll use that same color. Let's see if I've got enough paint, or if it's still wet enough to do one here. And just stamping that on, stamp off the rest of that paint. And I've got a text stamp here. I don't necessarily want to be able to read the text, but just to give it some added dimension on here, and I'm just going to stamp in random places. Okay. And now, and the fun thing about this is what you see is what you get. So what I'm going to do is lift up. I didn't bring my little spatula. I'm going to lift off the masks of the seahorses. Okay, so there's that. And we need to wait for paint to dry again. And this layer shouldn't take very long because it's thin. But before doing the next step, when ideally you want to wait for every layer of paint to dry before you move on to the next step. Excuse me. But before you can put your contact paper down on it, it has to be, every single bit of it has to be dry. Otherwise, you're probably not going to get what you want. But the good thing is, when you use the stamps or texture tools in paint, because it's so pretty thin, such a thin layer, it's going to dry really quick. I mean, this seems to be dry already. Yes, I'm getting paint on my hands, but I did put on my invisible glove. Okay, so awesome. This seems to be dry already. Yep. Okay. So now I've just got a small piece of contact paper here. It still has the backing on it. And it's not exactly the width or the height of this jelly plate, but it was an extra piece and I didn't want it to go to waste. So what I do is I peel back about an inch or so. Well, a little bit more because I want some edging for some to hang over. And then I start pressing it down on the jelly plate. And I'm going to use a plastic card. Whatever I get in the mail, I save it. Or if I'm able to save a gift card, anything, I save it because I use them for spreading glue, for spreading paint, for this. And I'm slowly peeling the backing off of the contact paper and pushing down the contact paper onto the jelly plate, trying not to get any air bubbles. This will be easier if I was on a non-skid surface. Okay. Tear that so it doesn't stick to the paper, which is probably okay. And of course the phone rings. Okay, sorry about that. So now I've got the contact paper down and I've put some of the backing on each side so it doesn't stick to my paper or my work surface. Which way are we going here? So now I'm going to continue to rub in multiple directions, and I'm pressing down pretty firmly on this because you want that paint, you want the sticky on the contact paper to connect with that paint. And sometimes the plastic card isn't quite hard enough, so I've got my bone folding tool also. And I'll go across with that. And sometimes the edges are the hardest parts to pick up, so I pay extra close attention to them. Okay, I'm gonna... Okay. So, I'm starting to lift. I've got my contact paper here that's stuck to the end, so I can use it to pull. And I'm going to try to zoom in here so that you can see what's happening. Okay, here's the jelly plate. This is the contact paper, and it's got the paint on it. And I'm going very slowly. And if you see that some paint hasn't been picked up, you can actually put it back down, use your card or your bone folder, and rub on that area some more, and then lift again. But I am doing this slowly. I just love this process. It's just so freaking cool. Okay, now I've just grabbed a hold of, closer to the paint portion. See, I mean, I have some little speckles of blue paint on here, but I'm not worried about that. Okay, so this is the jelly skin. Let me zoom back out. Okay, but we're not quite finished yet, because you still have all these open areas on here. Those are still sticky. Where the paint is not sticky. It's covered it up. So this is where you need your Pearl-Ex powder or a tin foil or a piece of colored paper. If you're going to use colored paper or something, you can just press this down, set it down on your paper and press it down. And all your blank spots, that's where you'll see your paper, the color of your paper come through. I'm going to use the Pearl-Ex. And what did I just do? And I have a very fluffy type brush, loose bristles. You could use any kind of foil leafing. Okay, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit with my brush. I'm going to tap it a little bit because I don't want it everywhere. And I'm just going to start brushing over the back of this. And it's not only covering up the sticky, it is also adding color to the blank space areas. And with the Pearl-Ex powders, it does not take much. I'm just going to grab off the inside of the cap here. And I'm just brushing it over the whole thing to make sure I'm getting all those areas. Shake this off so it doesn't get on the table. Okay, so now the sticky is gone, and I can lay it down on a piece of paper, and that is your jelly skin. It might have another term, but that's what I'm calling it, because you could put this on a little journal, put it down into as part of a journal page. You can cut it up and make strips. But that's just a quick and easy tutorial on how to do this process. It is so much fun. I hope you'll give it a try, because it is different from just doing the Gelli plate monoprints where you get surprised with every single pull. This is truly what you see is what you get. So very cool. I might have, maybe should have used little darker paints for the rubber stamps, the mermaid and the shells and the fish, but kind of like the subtlety of it. Yay! So that is it. I hope you have some fun with it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to answer. In my last Gelli video, I did put a link to Patty Tolly Parrish's video, which is where I got this process from. And if you want to see more in depth, but it is a long video. Okay, have fun. Thanks so much for watching. Appreciate your comments, and I will see you soon. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.